Of course, the Rush collection would not be complete without talking about the compilations, like best of albums, and their solo albums. So let's take a look at those now. This one is a bunch of their radio hits, and it's called The Greatest Hits from 74 to 87. Okay, that's what it looks like. Great retro radio on there. It has Closer to the Heart, Tom Sawyer, Subdivisions, Big Money, and Mystic Rhythms. Here's why this is important. These are cuts from Chronicles. Okay? A little sampler, if you will, from Chronicles. And there's the disc, by the way. Got the little signals dog on there. And see, does it have the correct time? Well, no, it's a radio frequency. I was going to say, did it have the correct time? Which, of course, would be 912, which is 2112. Moving on. This was so cool when this came out. I was pretty new to Rush at the time. Again, 88, 89-ish. This came out, I believe, around 89. Chronicles, disc 1 and 2. It actually came in one, but I separated it into two jewel cases. I just like them better that way. So you can see I just took the artwork from that one. You know those big, had the two sides that flipped out. I always found those so cumbersome. Did you guys like those too? Right? And you could open up one side but flip it over and open up the other. This unified jewel case that opened this way and opened this way. Hated that. So I put it in two jewel cases, all right? My custom job for Chronicles. And Chronicles covered everything from their first album all the way through Presto, because Show Don't Tell is on here. So yeah, Chronicles was so great when it came out. And by the way, I believe those are the pictures from 2112 inside the Chronicles cover. I remember getting this album, again, at high school, Cape Cod, Massachusetts. I had a girlfriend, her name was Jennifer, and I go over to her house one morning. I was so excited. And I've got the big old tall box, right? Came in the paper tall boxes. The CDs did back then. And I'm so excited. New Rush, right? Chronicles. This was a way for me to collect a great sampling from all the years from the beginning all the way through the present, through Presto. I was really excited. Brand new Rush fan. She had no clue. She had no idea what I was talking about. I'm like, it's Rush. It's Rush. Come on, it's Rush. It's a double album. No bloody clue. She had no clue about. Anyway, it's just really funny. And guess what? That's continued my entire life. Oh, it's Rush. Guess what? I'm going to see Rush soon. It's R40. I'm going to go see him. Who? What? I like Iron Maiden. I like Steely Dan. Or these people don't understand, do they? I digress. Okay, next up, Rush then had 3 compilation. These were pretty cool. Retrospective 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Retrospective 1, and I believe inside here. Yep, here it is. It's really easy to give you the visuals. This is beautiful, right? So you can see starting from over here, the first album, all the way through Permanent Waves. So that's what this covered, Retrospective 1. All right, so this was a new repackaging, because, this is what you do. You repackage your music for a new generation, a new time. And there's the CD inside. And this is Retrospective 1. What do we have here? Spirit of Radio, The Trees, Something for Nothing, Free Will, Xanadu, Bastille Day, By Torrent and the Snow Dog, Anthem, Closer to the Heart, 2112 Overture, The Temples of Syrinx, La Via Strangiato, Fly By Night, and Finding My Way. Retrospective 1. Moving on, Retrospective 2. Let's get out the visual. Here we go, guys. So, starting with Moving Pictures, all the way through Hold Your Fire. I love the wall art there. So cool. All right, so in Retrospective 2, covering those albums, we have... You know what's great about this? They did not go chronologically in order. They built these retrospectives for the listening enjoyment. I like that, right? They didn't start with the earliest material and work to the latest, meaning they didn't start with Moving Pictures and work to Hold Your Fire for Retrospective 2. Instead, they built a listening experience out of it. here's my starting with What Else? The Big Money. It's a great way to always start a concert and an album. So Big Money, Red Barchetta. Subdivisions, Time Stands Still, Mystic Rhythms, Analog Kid, Distant Early Warning, Marathon, Body Electric. What's that? What does that say? Oh, it says Mission. It's, by the way, it's black on red. And for anyone, yeah, I dare anyone to actually read it. All right, Mission, Limelight, Red Sector A, New World Man, Tom Sawyer, and Force 10. Finally, Retrospective Trace, Retrospective 3. This was double cool, and here's why. It came with a CD, of course. By the way, jewel cases, and at some point, remember how they got rid of the tall boxes, right? The paper boxes? You got to save the trees. Instead, plastic became the enemy, and now everything's in bloody cardboard. I like my jewel cases. How about you? You like jewel cases, or do you like these stupid, flimsy? Prefer these. Just saying. All right, so anyway, cardboard. All right, it's on here. And it's still Rush. I'm not complaining. But the whole industry did that, right? They all decided, we can't have all that plastic. Hello, we're not putting these in landfills. So what's wrong? Was it cheaper? Still, it's a tree. Okay, are we saving a tree? Are we making plastic? Anytime you let politics and agenda slip into art, things go crappy. Meaning, I lose my jewel case and I get a flimsy piece of cardboard. This is not on Rush. This is on the industry. Just saying. Ready? There you go. Just saying. All right, this is what's cool. This came with both CD, and that is not the example I want. This came with both CD and a DVD. Here we go. Beautiful. I had both my CDs in one and both my DVDs in the other. I have 2 copies, by the way. I have 2 copies of Retrospective 3. How I ended up with 2 copies? No bloody idea. But hey, you're a super fan, you got 2 copies of Retrospective 3. There they are. All right, so here we go. CD with all the songs on it and a collection of the music videos. This was cool. Okay, because remember, Chronicles had music videos, right? This brought us through more the modern era of Rush's music videos. So a DVD and a CD inside of one cardboard container inside the Retrospective 3. And by the way, as you can see here on the wall art, okay, from Presto all the way through, you can see over here, Snakes and Arrows, and down on the floor here is our feedback, okay, with all of our covers. What is on this album? Well, pretty cool. Here we go, Disc 1, Disc 2. One Little Victory, Dreamline, Working Them Angels, Presto, Bravado, Driven, The Pass, Animate, Roll the Bones, Ghost of a Chance, Nobody's Hero, Leave That Thing Alone, Earthshine, and Far Cry. That's Disc 1. Again, not going chronological. We're building a listening experience. What songs flow into the next? Okay, so imagine taking this many albums, okay? And I'm counting 6 studio albums plus feedback, okay? Now, you take the songs that you want, you know, the painstaking process. What songs are we going to pick from all these albums? Great. Now, how do those flow together? Because when you build an album, okay, so if you have a Rush album, a proper Rush album, like, for example, Snakes and Arrows, they chose the listening experience, okay? They went from Far Cry to Armor and Sword to Working Them Angels to Larger Bowl. Okay, they, you know what I mean? So you have to choose this. That's what they did with these retrospectives, and I love that. Okay? They kind of flow together. You know, what they saw or sonically heard would be a great listening experience. Not just this album. It's about what songs can then flow into each other. That's what they did there. So that was Disc 1. Disc 2. We have Stick It Out, Nobody's Hero, Half the World, Driven, Roll the Bones, Show Don't Tell, The Pass, Superconductor, Far Cry, Malignant Narcissism, The Seeker, of course, that's from Feedback, and Secret Touch, and Resist. There you go. So 2 discs, a CD, and DVD for Retrospective 3. So this was a cool update, in my humble opinion. Okay? having retrospective 1, 2, and 3, taking us basically through most of the 70s, 80s, and the early 90s and 90s into the 2000s up into 2000 and beyond. So that's really cool. Now, Rush, of course, during the time in which Neil needed to recover and heal, okay, the Ghost Rider years. If we're going to give it a name, it's a great name. After Neil lost everything, the Ghost Rider years, you know what I'm talking about. We have 2 solo albums during that time. First of which, Alex Lifeson came out with Victor. All right? And Don't Care, Promise, Start Today, Mr. X, At the End. Sending Out a Warning, Shut Up, Shutting Up. That's my favorite track, by the way. I love that track. Strip and Go Naked, The Big Dance, Victor, and I Am the Spirit, Victor, Alex Lifeson. However, my favorite Rush solo album remains, until this day, to be My Favorite Headache. I just recently got it on vinyl. I was so excited to get it on vinyl. I love this album. I wish Geddy would do another. Okay, give us another Headache. I would love Ged to do another solo album, because this is a lot of fun. This is Geddy. It's Geddy. You can hear it all. It's Geddy from Rush. It's all there. However, this is Ged on his own. There's a little bit of a pop sensibility to it, and I like it. His voice sounds amazing on My Favorite Headache. It's not a headache at all, actually. And his bass playing, it's just a great album. I love My Favorite Headache. Ged, if you're listening, please give us another Headache. Meaning, let's give us another solo album before it's too late, brother. I would love that. I don't think I'm alone with that thought. On My Favorite Headache, if I can, it's really small text. My Favorite Headache, the present tense, Window to the World, Working at Perfect. I love that album, that song, by the way. Runaway Train, great track. The Angels Share, another good track. Moving to Bohemia, love that track. Home Unestrange, love that song, reminds me of my grandfather. Slipping, oh, such a good song. And let's see, Still, and then finally Grace to Grace. I love Grace to Grace. Final track on Ged's solo album, Grace to Grace. Here's why. Grace to Grace, there's a couple lines in that song that have inspired ideas and concepts that I've used in my novel, Artera. I just love Grace to Grace. So many good things here. Great album. If you don't have Geddy Lee's solo album, it's still available. Go pick it up. Get it on vinyl. Go listen to it online or buy the CD. Support Geddy. This is a great album. How many times have I said that? Hey, that'd be a drinking game. Hey, it's a great album. Yeah, it's a great album. Take another drink. Take another drink. All right. Next up. Neil didn't give us solo albums, per se. However, he gave us tribute albums to the drummer that influenced him most. Who am I talking? Buddy Rich. This is one of them. Burning for Buddy. There were 2 of these albums. And on these albums, Neil, working with the Rich family, he became good friends with them. Recorded a bunch of jazz songs, and this is Neil playing jazz, Buddy Rich style. It's great, with a great jazz band. And me coming from jazz, I'm a sax player. Again, once a drummer, turned sax player. I've played so much jazz in my life. I love jazz music. To hear Neil play jazz, kind of perfect, right? Okay, you take my favorite drummer from my favorite band, and now he's playing one of my favorite forms of music. That's what this is, Burning for Buddy. Neil Peart. Now, before we leave, there's a tribute album and an interview album that I have. One of them, there's a bunch of tribute albums, so that I don't own them all. You guys can go check them out, like CygnusX1.net. Great archive of all kinds of everything Rush, and on there you can see all of the tribute albums through the years, up until recent days, okay? Really recent years. But one of the very earliest ones called Working Man. And there's all kinds of people on here. They cover Working Man, By Tor and the Snow Dog, Analog Kid, The Trees, La Via Strangiato, Mission, Anthem, Jacob's Ladder, Closer to the Heart, Natural Science, YYZ, Red Barchetta, and Free Will. I mean, Sebastian Bach is on here. See, Mike Portnoy's on here. There's so many great musicians on here, by the way. And James from Dream Theater also sings on one of the tracks. Working Man, okay? A tribute album to Rush. So if you're into tribute albums and you want to listen to some Rush ones, that's one of them. There's a lot more. CygnusX1.net. Check it out. And this I picked up years ago. Who knows? I think it was in a used bin, all right? There were the stores, kind of like Hastings, where people could trade in CDs and you'd find all kinds of weird gems. Okay, old, obscure, rare import albums. I love finding that stuff. I love finding really rare CDs, and in these days, finding rare vinyl. And one of which is called The Story of Kings. And on here is a very old interview with, I believe, Getty and Alex. Okay, it's just an audio files. Audio interview on CD. It's called The Story of Kings. So this is in my Rush collection as well. So beyond all of the studio albums, all of the fantastic live albums that we've talked about, right? Studio album, we got like 4 of them live all through the years. In addition, yes, there were solo albums. There were a compilation of greatest hits albums. And of course, we talked about solo albums and tribute albums and so on. This being sort of a solo/tribute album. So much great stuff, and we're so blessed to have such a great catalog.